Hi there. I wanted to come back and share 4 additional stories about amiodarone, and these are with people that I know personally. 3 of them are, and one of them is through a family member. So I will start with the first one. Is a coworker of a family member, and he was having a really hard time, and just happened to go by her office one day, and she knew the story of my mother and what happened with her. And he went by her office and he was talking about how he was feeling and how he felt like he could not get out of his chair. He said, every day that I go home, I can't do anything. He said, I just get in my recliner. I don't want to get up. I get up to eat and then I just want to go to bed. He said, my legs feel like they're just chunks of cement. And she said, really, what medication are you taking? Amiodarone. So she immediately puts him in touch with me. I tell him all about my mother's story. He had only been on amiodarone for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks. He goes back to his cardiologist. He already had another appointment. She had already set up another appointment with him to see another cardiac specialist because they were going to go in and burn some of his something in his heart. They were going to do some procedure. He goes to this specialist and the specialist said, are you on amiodarone? And he said, yes. And he goes, I want you to get off of it immediately. Immediately. We are not going to do this procedure on you. You don't need this procedure done. What you're experiencing those are side effects from amiodarone, and you stop taking it immediately. He goes back to his cardiologist and tells her what this specialist said, and she said, absolutely not. That's incorrect. You need to be on amiodarone. What? Well, he took himself off of amiodarone after hearing my mother's story, and he followed the advice of the other specialist. Okay, so that's one story. The second story is another family member who knew that my mother had died of what we all believe, including the doctors, of amiodarone toxicity. And she knew that. But then a couple of years goes by, she has some heart arrhythmia and goes to the doctor, and he puts her on amiodarone. And it didn't ring a bell with her. You know, that's common. We don't remember the names of medications. That's very easy to forget the names of medications. And she was so focused on herself, obviously, and getting well. And so she got on amiodarone. It just so happened that I was over at her house, and we're all sitting around the table, and we're talking about how she's feeling. And she said, I just have no energy. I don't want to do anything. And when I say this is an active woman, I mean a very active woman. All of a sudden, she has zero energy, does not want to do anything. And I said, you know, when we started talking about it, and I made mention of amiodarone, and her daughter said, that's exactly what she's taking. And I'm like, what? So they go back to the doctor and tell him, you're going to have to figure something else out because she is not going to stay on amiodarone. So they took her off amiodarone, and they came up with an alternative, and she's doing perfectly fine. She's on one medication now, and she's doing great. Then I have another family member. She has a friend whose mother has been on amiodarone for a very long time. When my mother passed away, she said, I think my friend's mother is on amiodarone. I want to check on that. And so she did. And sure enough, she had been on amiodarone for a very long time. And she had these issues, these physical issues of getting around, and just her muscles and joints and all of that aching. And so she put her in touch with me. I spoke with this woman, and she said, you know what, I'm going to talk to my doctor about this and talk to my daughter. So she went to the doctor. He lowered her dosage of amiodarone. However, she has to go and get the fluid drained off of her lungs regularly. So the last I knew, she's still on half dose of amiodarone, but she does have to get fluid drained off of her lungs. And so then the last story I will share with you is another family member whose partner, his girlfriend, had to have a heart procedure done, and she started having arrhythmia. And they did the procedure on her, but again, she had arrhythmia, and the doctor immediately wanted to put her on amiodarone. And they said, absolutely not. He knew what happened to my mother, and he said, absolutely not. And he said, I prescribed this to hundreds of people. And he said, I'm sure you do, but she's not taking it. What are our other alternatives? And guess what? He came up with another alternative where they could go in and shock her heart, which had 90% effectiveness, success rate, where amiodarone only had 50% and all of the side effects. Why would they not look at shocking her heart first before prescribing her a black box warning drug? Again, be in charge of your health. Pay attention. And just because the doctor says to do something does not make it gold. It doesn't mean that it's the right thing. Be in charge of your health. Make your own decisions for your health and well-being, and question your doctor. And you don't have to go along with everything they say, because they're not always right, clearly. I hope all of this helps. I hope so much it helps. And just take really good care of yourselves. Take good care of your family. Today is the 4th anniversary of my mother not being with us. So we are going to go celebrate her and stay well.